Alright, we're doing a lineup of the Jim Beam's signature craft. Logan has all 6 of them.
Yes.
So we are going to be trying all 6 of them for the first time. At least for me, it's for the first time.
It's the first time for me
as
well.
Oh, right, because you said you cracked them open for samples, but you didn't
Yep.
try them yet.
Yep, I got samples for Drew, because Drew is my fellow Jim Beam fanboy.
Right. Alright, this one is the red wheat. How long are these aged?
11 years.
They're all 11 years?
are 11 years.
Cool.
So I think that they intended for this to be an experimental line, like to buy each one and try each one, because everything else is the same except for the secondary grain.
So yeah, we should add, these are bourbons, it's just they changed what the other grain is.
Yes.
Are they just 2 grains?
I believe it's just 2. Let's see. It actually doesn't say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't say. It just says what the secondary grain is. And
it could be that it's, the regular Jim Beam mash bill, which, is what, some percentage of corn.
70, it's like 72% corn. I want to say 14% secondary grain.
Yeah, it's clinking. So then I would assume that it would make sense if they just did the same mash bill, but they swapped out what that second one was and still have the bit of malted barley.
I think so, yeah. But we'll find out.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it.
Yeah, so red wheat.
Jim Beam peanut. A little bit of doughy cinnamon roll.
This one's really sweet. Or not really sweet. Well, I mean, sweeter than any other Beam I've had, but that makes sense because how much wheated Jim Beam have we had?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, peanut brittle, cinnamon roll, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon, warm toasted oak, and that's pretty much it. Honestly, this reminds me of like this year's batch of Booker's, but like watered down.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's exactly what this reminds me of. Yeah. Like tag-along batch or a Donahoe's batch, but not barrel proof.
Right. Huh.
A little tannic, a little bit of leather, and like dry oak. I don't get a whole lot of like wheat influence necessarily, because I still get the peanut. I still get
I tried to lift this water bottle up, but the elbow does not want to go up.
It actually tastes very similar to the nose, but just with a little bit more bitterness from the oak and everything. I enjoy it. I just expected a little bit more like mouthfeel because of the wheat.
This is pretty good though.
Oh, it's solid. Like that's definitely a good whiskey. Just not what I was expecting.
Huh. Yeah. I was gonna say I don't really know much else to say.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to pick out. It's intense for 90 proof though.
This
is pretty intense for 90 proof. But it's not super complex because I guess it's 90 proof? I don't know.
Right. Intense flavor, but not complex. No real.
There's not a lot of complexity.
And it does have a good bit of heat for 90. I think it drinks a little hotter than 90.
Yeah, it might be a little warm on the finish. But yeah. It's just like a little bit of cinnamon roll, peanut brittle, peanut shell, and then like leather and tobacco.
I do have my hopes up for these other ones though, because we got some interesting ones in here. So
I'm pretty sure that brown rice is the exact reason why the Basil Hayden toast is made with brown rice bourbon. So we'll find out what that's all about next.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's the red wheat. All right, time for some brown rice.
This is a lot lighter and creamier. Like there's like a vanilla yogurt note, and then peanut shells.
For me, it's more of like a pudding because it's just straight up sweeter.
It is sweeter, but it's not super. Well, yeah, I guess I could see that. Like maybe more like a rice pudding because it's not super sweet.
Fair enough, yeah. And like you mentioned earlier, this is the brown rice is what they use in the Basil Hayden toast.
Yeah. So we're gonna taste.
So it is, which is interesting because people think that it's just a double oaked regular Basil Hayden, and it's not. Because it actually is a different mash bill.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it smells creamier. Still get peanut shell.
I bet you we're gonna get it's gonna be reminiscent of the toast, but probably a little more flavorful actually because it's higher proof.
Yeah, just
we're gonna take a sip and be like, this is what Basil Hayden toast should be.
Yeah, just a little bit less oak. Although now that I'm smelling it a little bit more, I definitely get the vanilla pudding that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's coming through a lot more.
Mm-hmm. This is also pretty amber compared to.
I would say they're all actually pretty uniform in color.
I guess it is the angle I was looking at because this one looked really dark. Those looked about the same. That looked kind of lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, from my angle.
No, they're all pretty similar.
Yeah. All right, let's.
I guess it makes sense. Same age and everything.
Yeah, same age.
Conditions, I'd assume.
Yeah, same rack house. I think they're all from the same rack too.
How many brain cells do you think we kill every time we huff whiskey out of a Glencairn?
Not enough.
Not enough to be fun.
We inhaled the number of many. Whiskey gooder time.
Oh, that's so much lighter than the wheat.
I love this one. Immediately.
Creamy finish, really
it's creamy.
Vanilla.
It's creamy all throughout.
There's not so much caramel though. It's very vanilla forward.
Yes.
It is, which makes sense because the Basil Hayden toast is a straight up vanilla bomb. So you're getting the vanilla mash bill on top of a double oak experience.
So the double oak is where some of that caramel and stuff comes in, but it also just brings out even more of the vanilla.
Yes.
Whereas on this, you get the primitive version of it at a slightly higher proof, where it's just all fucking vanilla.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure
It's straight up melted vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, super
the finish
creamy
straight up
mouthfeel.
literally is melted ice cream.
I really enjoy the simplicity, just the pure vanilla.
I think that's what's gonna be the overarching theme is that none of these are super complex.
But they're all going to have something super distinct.
They're all going to be super distinct and they're all going to be super enjoyable. Because, I did like the red wheat. It was just a little tannic. Mm-hmm. But it did have, that distinct cinnamon roll note of a wheated whiskey. This one has a ton of fucking vanilla. Vanilla bean, vanilla cream, vanilla pudding.
You don't really get a ton much else, either. No.
You get vanilla and a little bit of oak spice. That's it.
For an 11 year, you expect oakier, which is what's surprising.
I'm not going to complain because I really like this.
Either, but
I could drink this all night.
I wasn't sure I was I'm sure they're going to be a little different, but there's going to be a lot of similarity. These are actually surprisingly different so far. Mm-hmm. Just these two. You still get that Jim Beam peanut funk.
Yeah, we might see more similarities in some of the later ones. Because, one's wheated, the other one's rice. These other ones are a little bit more in the same vein.
I think this whole roll load is going to be a mind boggler.
Probably. That's going to be the outlier of what the fuck is this.
Yeah. And then I think the high rye is going to be. I think that the one that's going to be the most typical is the 6-row barley. I think the high rye is going to be a brown sugar bomb. And I think the triticale is going to be kind of typical.
And the oak, I have no idea what to expect. Or the oat, I have no idea what to expect.
No idea whatsoever. I think it's going to have the oiliest mouthfeel, but that's just a speculation.
I was going to say, we will find out as we go. But yeah, so there is the 11-year brown rice. Alright, so this is the, whole rolled oat?
Yes.
So this is one, we have no fucking clue what we're getting into with this one.
It smells creamy and berry.
And I still get some cinnamon.
A little bit of cinnamon. But I get berries, cream, and cinnamon.
It's more reminiscent of Knob Creek.
Actually, it is. Yeah, you're right. It's not super peanutty. This is the least peanutty on the nose.
It's like a creamy version of a Knob Creek.
Yeah.
Because the fruit's still there. It's almost like you took Knob Creek and added the last one into it.
Yep. A lot of vanilla cream to it. I like the nose on it. But
I
yeah.
do too.
Again, it's straightforward, not super complex. Berries, cream, cinnamon, maybe a little bit of oak. Translates right into the palate.
It tastes almost identical.
Yep. And I'm not complaining about that. That's actually really good. That's a really good basic whiskey.
The sweeter notes, especially toward the finish, come out more. The fruit kind of goes away.
It's very creamy too. This is like the most unique mouthfeel of the two so far. Very light and airy.
This is really good. This is not, I mean, I had no idea what to expect, but this is not how I probably thought this was going to taste.
No. There's like a little hint of oak spice on the finish. But vanilla, berries, and cinnamon are like the big three things.
Almost, this one, whereas the other one was like ice cream, this is more like heavy cream.
I could see that. Heavy cream.
And then, I mean, and straight up like vanilla extract. I almost get.
I want to try and figure out how to incorporate the berries though, because there is like a distinct like blueberry, raspberry, strawberry.
Whipped cream with the cherry on top.
I don't get cherry though.
Well, not
no
cherry, but
Fruit.
whipped cream with
Fruit on top.
yeah.
Berries and cream on a cinnamon roll. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Berries and cream.
Yeah.
Berries and cream. Berries and cream.
Cream.
Crema.
Creme de la creme. What is it? Creme de la creme a la Edgar?
Something like that. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm enjoying this whiskey too much.
You're too busy huffing your whiskey.
This is my life now. You know the reference there, Logan? Family Guy reference?
I haven't watched Family Guy.
Take
so
out
I
the
miss it.
glue, take a sniff, and this is my life. That, but whiskey.
Yes. I actually really wish that these were more readily available for like it. I wouldn't spend $60 on a pint of this ever, but like
How much was the full set of these?
it was $160 for all 6 of them.
Yeah, that's a steal.
That's a decent deal, yeah.
It's below $20 for each of them, which is very reasonable
That's
actually.
ridiculous.
Considering they're on clearance in PA.
Yeah.
Below 20? It's not below 20.
160 divided by 6 is below $20. Or below $30, sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Below
Like
30.
below $20, sir, that's $120.
It's 20 something. I don't remember 20 what, but I really like these. I'm glad that nobody else likes them because I know I'll still be able to find them for on clearance. Because anybody who sees Jim Beam is like, ooh, Jim Beam.
The fact that it has the name on it, they're like, that's part of why Old Tub doesn't have Jim Beam plastered on it.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
marketing
true.
thing.
Yeah, no, these have all been simple, but like for light 90 proof whiskey, they've done simplicity incredibly. Yeah.
It's almost like how you can taste each one and how it is similar to a product they actually have too.
Yeah, although
Except the red or the red wheat.
I would actually equate the red wheat to some stuff because like it is kind of tannic and like leathery and tobacco.
I guess I guess it has some of the characteristics of an older aged Knob Creek.
Yeah,
But-
for sure.
But even then, like, I think that's partially the age on what's already a lighter whiskey because wheat, it's easier to impact a wheat whiskey with age.
This is true. This is very true.
Or wheated bourbon, age does a lot more to it and masks more and more of the wheated qualities.
This is very true. I can't argue with that.
But the other ones you can straight up say, oh, this feels like it's a spin on Knob Creek or a spin on, or like this is what Basil Hayden Toast pretty much became.
Yep. That was the inspiration for Basil Hayden Toast. There was another one that was the inspiration for something else. I don't remember what. I think the High Rye is just higher proof Basil Hayden. I think that's what
It's
we're going
very
to find out.
possible.
I think that this is higher proof, higher aged Basil Hayden. That's all I think that is.
I'm gonna taste it and be like, I wish Basil Hayden was this. I guarantee.
I guarantee you we're both going to be like that.
Yeah.
Because like Old Granddad is great, but the only downside of Old Granddad is that it's very young. I think that that's going to be one of the favorites tonight because we know what that could be, and it's just not.
But yeah, so there is the whole rolled oat.
They're also the softest pajama bottoms I own. And yes, we're starting off with that.
Understandable. So explain to the viewers and like-minded people like me, what the fuck is this?
Triticale is like a hybrid grain where they married, I believe, rye and malted barley together. I want to double check that though. It's either rye and malted barley or rye and wheat. But
Who's Ryan Wheat? Did he change his last name?
I don't know,
He's sick of
man.
being called Sarge.
I feel like he's sick of being involved with.
The Edgemont Steakhouse Route 19 Creamery.
You read my mind. It is a hybrid of wheat and rye.
Okay.
So they literally took rye and wheat and
made him fuck.
literally yes, actually. Literally
that was a
yes.
joke.
Now kiss.
Now kid.
So I don't know what this is gonna impart. Is it gonna imply rye? Is it gonna imply wheat? Is it gonna be like a 4-grain? I don't know.
Is this a bourbon orgy?
Probably. This is probably gonna be the best
Sure.
4-grain that we've tried, technically.
Yeah. Technically.
Actually,
We are now playing God. We better watch where we step.
it actually kind of does smell like a 4-grain.
It is kind of reminiscent of like the Penelope.
It's a little like sweet wheat with like the cream and like light airy notes, but it still has like some of that candy caramel rye note. It doesn't have the Jim Beam peanut like the first two
No.
did.
Not at all.
I'm curious. That actually does taste like a really good 4-grain.
It does.
Vanilla caramel candies. The what is it? Cowtails?
Cowtails.
Yeah,
Yep.
tastes like cowtails. A little bit of peanut brittle. A little bit of like oak and rye spice.
Get more of the oak toward the finish.
Yeah, definitely towards the finish. A little bit of cinnamon. I think this one might be my favorite so far.
I'm partial to that rolled oat. I really like that one.
I've liked all of these so far.
I mean, I've liked them all, but I really like that one.
I'm actually thoroughly impressed. I didn't expect to like these as much
I've
as I
heard
did.
so many mixed reviews on these.
And these are really good. I don't know what people were complaining about.
It's not a hereditary person.
It's not unpleasant, but I get a little bit of bitterness on this one.
Really?
Just a little bit.
This one is the least bitter to me so far.
I think so.
I was gonna say I got a ton of bitterness on the second compared to the others.
I actually got a ton of bitterness on the first one. Goes to
The
show
first one for sure, but
how palates are different. Just goes to show.
that was just a flavor note that you didn't mention that I'm like kind of getting, which is interesting.
But yeah, no, I don't get bitterness on this one at all. This is actually the sweetest one so far.
Yeah, I have to agree on that one. I think this is the sweetest one.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, the third is pretty close.
It was a little creamier than it was sweet though.
Fair enough.
I think the brown rice was very vanilla, so it like kind of had to balance sweet and creamy. The whole rolled oat was so fucking creamy. Like that was one of the creamiest 90 proof whiskeys I've had. This one is more like sweet dessert forward than the other three were. Honestly, the red wheat was the most typical Jim Beam profile we've tried so far.
Which is interesting because they just don't make a wheated bourbon.
No, they don't. And they could easily market that and sell it with ease. And taste normal.
Easily, with ease, and also with very little issue.
Yes. This is why I'm not an English person.
English person?
I'm not a... Reminds me of the meme, British people be like, whoa,
I'll speak American, okay?
hell yeah.
Brother.
Guns and tricks, brother. Hell yeah.
Yes. Jolly good, sir.
This is a meme where it says, it has a, it's a map and it shows the English channel. It says, pass the remote. You know that there's a huge patch of trash that has just been in the ocean for years and years and years? For more information, look up United Kingdom.
Oh, you didn't have to do that. But
you thought I was about to go into something legit, and I'm just like, for more info, look up the UK.
I mean, there's legitimately a pile of trash sitting in the
Yeah,
English
the
Channel.
UK.
Yeah.
I know there actually is.
Beyond is the UK.
So yeah, this is great. Fuck England. Alright, 6-row barley time. So, what do you expect for...
This is gonna be the most bourbony.
Probably. That makes sense.
Like, I expect this to be the most typical bourbon-esque one. Aside from the high rye, but in a different way for the high rye.
Right. Brown sugar.
Brown sugar, corn. Sweet. Brown sugar, caramel, and corn. That's it.
Yeah.
These have been very, very much like triplets of notes.
Mm-hmm.
They're not complex. There's like 3 big ones.
Yeah, there's 3 big ones, and there's like little things, but they mostly get drowned out
Yeah.
by the main.
Which is kind of why I wish they released these at 100 proof, but...
But at the same time, these make really pleasant sippers at 90 proof.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I wish that every single one of these was available at 90 proof. I wouldn't drink a single other brand's 90 proof basic whiskey at that point.
Right.
But...
I mean, I would still probably drink Maker's Mark because that's still... We're going to find that to be pretty different than all of these still.
True.
But...
Anyway, yeah, the nose is actually very typical of a bourbon. Very basic bourbon, but like it's also sweet. It's very sweet.
It's interesting that the nose is so basic for its age too.
Yeah.
It's an 11-year that has like it's intense flavors, but it's again minimal.
Mm. And I think that might just be a victim of proof, because I mean, Eagle Rare suffers from the same thing. It's 90 proof, and like it could be a lot more complex, but it suffers from being 90 proof.
Right.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Caramel, brown sugar, vanilla,
Yeah, typical bourbon.
slight oak. Yeah, this is the most typical bourbon we've tried so far.
A little bit of a creamier finish than I was expecting,
Which is probably
but it's not as much as the other ones.
Yeah, that's why, like, the 6-row is going to be a little creamier than a 2-row barley, but, like...
I think that's also partially a victim of proof as well.
Yep.
I can't call that a victim because I actually really like the finish on this.
I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I'm surprised how much...
This one actually might be my favorite so far. It's between this and the rolled oak, for me personally.
I do think I like the Tritico better. The whole rolled oat is very high on my list. And I'm partial to the brown rice just because of how vanilla forward it was. I do love vanilla notes.
These are all just really good.
Yeah, so far, surprisingly, the winter red, the soft red wheat is my least favorite.
Same.
And I would still buy a bottle of any of these.
Absolutely.
At a reasonable price, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that if you could get these as like a $30 to $40 90 proofer, that'd almost be a no-brainer for most of these, if not all of them.
I don't think that there's another 90 proof whiskey I could buy at the same price except for maybe Bernheim's and Eagle Rare.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I'm surprised because I kind of expected I was going to like these, but they've all been really good.
Yeah, based on the reviews, I'm liking them better than I expected the reviews.
Fair enough, yeah.
Like
that much I could agree to, but I kind of expected I was still going to like them and that the reviews were just people who want to hate on Jim Beam.
Pretty much, yeah.
Why does Jim Beam get so much hate?
So they make one of the most common shitty whiskeys. So Jim Beam White Label
is trash and
really not good.
I know that.
And everyone but it's like one of the mixers out there.
And then Jim Beam Black, the white and the black Jim Beam labels are the most commonly known Jim Beam labels. Neither of them are that good, and people associate Jim Beam with those. So even
but then they come out with extra stuff. Like the single barrel was phenomenal.
Oh my god, the single barrel is so fucking good. Oh shit.
Interesting.
Yeah, the single barrel is good. The double oak is a very good sub $20 bottle of whiskey.
Oh yeah. And Old Tub obviously just blows everything out of the water at the price point.
And honestly, the Prohibition Rye, I actually really like it. It's a younger Knob Creek rye. So like instead of it being like a 6-year rye like the Knob Creek rye typically is, it's 4 years.
Yeah.
I actually still really like it. And it's below, I think it's $24.
It's a lot easier to trust a rye from a distillery than a bourbon in general. That's why a lot of the good PA whiskeys are ryes or sourced.
Because they don't need nearly as much
or
age.
McLaughlin, but they're either you have pretty much there's 3 options for PA ones. Their ryes are good, their bourbons are good and they're sourced, or their bourbons are good and they're expensive as fuck.
Yes.
Liberty Pole is the one that kind of falls in between, where they're really good, but they're not. I wouldn't say super overpriced either.
They do some unique stuff too. I mean, they do a peated bourbon.
Peated bourbon. They did a high rye release. They do a spiced bourbon for the holidays.
Yep.
They do a really good bourbon cream.
And I mean, I have to go back and look because if they lowered their prices, I think that they might actually be worth picking up. Because the
under
only
50 for both.
Yeah, that's
or,
way better.
Or maybe right at 50 for the peated, but under 50 for the bourbon.
Yeah, because originally they were both above 50, and that's hard to justify for a mediocre bourbon.
The one was like $51.99, the other's $57 or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm excited for this last one because I know it's going to stack up to the rest of it, and I'm going to like it.
I'm expecting it to be high-aged, higher-proof Basil Hayden, which is very promising.
Yes. So, yeah. Alright, and last but not least, Jim Beam Signature Craft High Rye. So,
I get a little bit of dill.
I do too. I mean, High Rye.
Yeah. Brown sugar, spice, and sweet. So caramel.
Yeah.
Caramel, baking spice, dill, brown sugar.
This is the exception where there's 4 distinct things we can pick out.
Yep. Alright, let's dive into
Even though, I mean, dill's close enough to baking spice at this point.
Yeah, this tastes like a higher aged, higher proof Basil Hayden.
This is what Basil Hayden should be. Yeah.
This is exactly what Basil Hayden should be. Like, if this is what Basil Hayden was, not a single person would ever complain about it.
Agreed. I was gonna say, I don't really have much to say other than higher proof Basil Hayden.
Yeah, it's sweet, a little spicy, a little peppery.
I still get a little bit of that. I don't know if it's necessarily dill, but green.
Yeah, it's got some herbal notes, like generic herbal notes.
Right.
You can't pick anything out.
So, this being said, how would you score these?
Oh, I would put them all at least a 7.
I put them all at a 7 except the rolled oat and the 6-row barley. I put it like a 7.5 for me personally.
Oh,
I would maybe put I would put them all around that, and I would put the wheat at like a 6.75 or something.
If I had to, I'd probably say the wheat is a base at a 7. The high rye and the barley, the 6-row barley, about 7.25s. And then the triticale, whole rolled oat, and brown rice, I put all at 7.5s.
Okay, I can't argue with that.
Like I expect,
you have a pretty similar scale. Yours is shifted up.
Yeah.
0.5.
I would say so. I mean, I might bump up the brown rice and whole rolled to 7.75.
But point being, for what they are, and to have the Jim Beam name on it, for them to be this, like, that's a high score for anything that has the Beam name on it, aside from the single barrel.
Yeah.
Just because, like, Old Tub doesn't have a score like that, but it's also not meant to have a score like that.
No, it's super. It's very ethanol heavy.
Mm-hmm.
like for what it is. It tastes delicious, but it is ethanol heavy relative to what it is. These relative to any other 90 proof whiskey, like that's
there's
kind
like
of
no heat at all.
No, there's no heat. There's a ton of flavor. It's not complex, but there's more flavor on these than there is other whiskeys of the same proof.
I think the verdict overall is these are really good.
Yeah, I'm very happy with them.
Mm-hmm. Something where at some point I might have to snag them.
Yeah, I mean,
Eventually.
it's a reasonable price at $160 for all 6 of these.
Right.
So you're spending below $30 on each of these pints, and like collectible pints, collectible pints are usually about $40. So like, this isn't terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the lineup, and these are all really good.
Can't complain about a single one of them.